Every now and then, it's useful to be able to break up a MIDI chord across multiple channels. Each channel would then only ever play one note of a chord at a time. This is useful in situations where a particular hardware synth only supports monophonic voicing, but has more than one channel that sounds the same. Splitting polyphony across multiple monophonic MIDI channels can be done using a combination of two Max for Live devices, poly to mono and MIDI pathway receive. The poly to mono device splits up a chord with a maximum of 16 notes. Each note can then be sent to an individual MIDI channel. The MIDI path receive device then acts as an output point for each note. So let's have a look at a hardware setup that could use this. MIDI notes from Live are sent out via a USB MIDI interface. This MIDI data is then sent to an 8-bit Nintendo Entertainment System using a MIDI NES cart. The audio output from the NES is connected to the input of a USB audio interface. So whenever a MIDI note is played in Live, the NES will generate a corresponding sound. The NES has 5 channels in total, 2 pulse and a triangle, 1 noise and a sample channel. Only one note can be played at a time using any of the channels. Playing a second note will stop the first one from playing. To split up a chord across both pulse channels, a new track has to be created for the polyphonic data. Additionally, each pulse channel has to have its own track. The output of the polyphonic track is not routed to anywhere, whereas the pulse channel tracks are being sent to the MIDI interface and the NES. The poly to mono device is then added to the polyphonic data track. The first 2 voices are turned on and sent via buses 1 and 2. The MIDI pathway receive device is added to each of the pulse channel tracks. Pulse channel 1 is set to receive notes from bus 1 and pulse 2 from bus 2. Any 2-note chords that are now played on the polyphonic track are automatically split across pulse channels 1 and 2. MIDI effects can be placed before the poly to mono device. Any MIDI control changes and pitch bends that are sent to the poly to mono device will be mirrored to all receiving tracks. So hopefully that helps if you find yourself in a similar situation where you need to split polyphonic MIDI data across multiple monophonic MIDI channels.